the deep end.
Welcome again to episode 2.
Wow.
Can you believe it? It's already been 2 episodes.
We made it to 2 episodes.
I know, yeah.
That's more than people thought we'd do.
And YouTube hasn't taken us down or anything like that. So the episode 2 of We Will Write Your Favourite Song, featuring...
Hi, my name's Greg, and I'm tall.
And he's devilishly handsome. And my name's Paul, and I'm less tall. We are aiming just to write something.
We are.
A new composition that we hope might be your favourite song. If you haven't seen episode 1, please go back onto YouTube and search it up under We Will Write Your Favourite Song, which is...
Episode 1.
Episode 1. It's quite a title we've given ourselves for people.
It's snappy. It'll look good on the posters and on the T-shirts. You know,
It'll take up the whole T-shirt, won't it?
It will, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have any merch available yet, but feel free to like and subscribe and leave a comment if you're able to do so, saying, where can we get merch? Yeah.
And also to help guide us as we go through the process, because we are effectively, well, I suppose we have to say day 2 now, don't we?
Yes.
Day 2 of actually coming together to try and produce a piece of music that we are happy with and hopefully other people are happy with. And maybe we can be guided along the way, which wasn't our original idea, was it? But it kind of came up last week that maybe if people commented as we go along, because we are going to record these and upload them pretty quickly, aren't we? So you're going to be with us for the whole journey.
And that kind of... organic approach to it, like what would you call it? User-driven.
Yeah, I like this. I like that. Yeah,
Yeah, it's nice. So in this episode, we're going to talk an awful lot about things completely unrelated.
Probably, yeah.
But what we're also going to do is we're going to start building this song from the ground up, and I can promise you that no preparation on this song has taken place between Greg and I.
All, no.
In fact, not even individually. I haven't thought about the song at all and what it might sound like. Have you?
No, I haven't. I mean, I've written stuff since we were together, but not with a view for it being for the, you know, just doing what I do, which is sit at home and just come up with some stuff that probably no one will ever hear. But I just do it for my own benefit, for the creative sort of outlet. But I haven't sat at home going, I wonder if those chords could go together and me and Paul could harmonise over them. So I haven't really given it much thought at all, which makes me sound very unprofessional and unprepared. But that was the whole point of this, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I think everything that the song will happen in this kind of like writer's workshop,
quite exciting,
I guess.
really.
Yeah, just to fill you in, Greg Powles, he's a singer-songwriter and he plays live very well. And I also write some songs, and sometimes I get to perform them in public, and sometimes not.
Yeah, it's quite a recent thing for me, though. Actually, performing my own. Well, actually, performing at all musically is a very recent thing for me, and actually doing my own stuff is It's still. I think we touched on it last week about the kind of nerves I got the first time I had to perform my own stuff live, and I still get it. It's still a bit weird to me to think that I do it, and I have to not think about it because it's one of those things where if I'm sitting there and I start thinking about what I'm doing, I forget how to play the song. Whereas if I just sort of close my eyes and pretend I'm sitting at home in my kitchen and just play it normally, it goes quite well. But
isn't it funny the tricks you have to play on your mind to perform things? Yeah. I was thinking we look at this from the ground up. Okay. And how songs might be formulated. For me, I think I hate that kind of that view of songs being some sort of divine gift. Right. Yeah. I don't think they're that at all. And yet I have absolutely no idea where my songs come from.
No.
Do you? I mean, sometimes, occasionally, I will engineer a song from a topic, or like a good lyric pops into my head, that kind of thing, or an old adage, or cliche, and you think, oh, that's a good idea, and then I kind of form something from the ground up. But usually, things are just in my head. I might be sort of whistling an old ditty or something, and then it formulates. It almost takes care of itself.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it, because I think I've done. I remember having like a rhyming couplet in my head that I just come up with at work one day, and I went, I really like that, and I didn't do anything with it, and then I think it was about 4 years later, was writing a song about something else, and I went, oh, I can just drop that in there. So it's almost so you have this catalogue of ideas that you're thinking about, which is where, I mean, we can get into it sometime, but the whole thing about daydreaming and using your imagination that a lot of people are discouraged from as they're getting older is actually very, very important for the creative process. And also, business people talk about it as well, but that you can be sitting on the train, staring out of the window, and all of a sudden...
That $1 million idea.
Exactly. It's there. Suddenly you know how to create this product. And I think it's the same thing. And I remember Elton John, I saw an interview with Elton John, and I think it was Sacrifice. And someone had said to him, how long did it take? And he went, that song took me 20 minutes. And they went, oh, wow, you can write a song in 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And he said, yeah, I can, but only because every day I get up and I sit at the piano for about 4 hours. And most days, nothing happens. But because I do that, and because there's little snippets of ideas, and there's little bits of lyrics, and there's little bits of chord structures, every so often it will fall into place. So you have to put those hours in.
I mean, every so often, he's quite prolific.
Oh, yeah. It's slightly different for him, but
it's an interesting person to raise, actually, because he is a famous songwriting partnership with Bernie Taupin. Would you pronounce
Bernie
that?
Taupin?
Yeah.
And they've always done it the same way, haven't it?
Bernie, I think, just dials in the lyrics.
Yeah.
And Elton takes care of the melody.
Yeah.
And I guess sometimes you end up with... I've noticed the inflection in the wrong place, or like the emphasis on the wrong syllable. I mean, in songwriting, I guess you'd call it like a poetic license or artistic license, where it's not meant to sound like a conversation.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. So the way that we speak, we have a cadence to the way we speak, and things go up and then come down, unless you're Australian, in which case they go up in the wrong place. But in songwriting, it's not quite like that. The flow is different, isn't it? Almost deliberately.
Yeah, because it's supposed to fit the melody, isn't it? And you can put extra words in that make it fit the melody. And
oh, you could put in the odd ooh or yeah.
This is it, or something. Yeah.
Or
a na somewhere.
I love a na.
Yeah.
I personally don't like it when it's obviously in the wrong place. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think we have spoken about that before, haven't we? And I'm not going to be able to think of any examples, and we can't play them anyway.
No.
But it is that occasionally you will have a song where the melody fits the tune that's being played perfectly, and the lyrics fit into the flow of it.
Yeah.
And that is like the holy grail, I think, of songwriting, because if you are hearing something that means something to you and it sounds that natural, that's when it all falls into place. When you've got, like you said, when you've got to decipher it slightly because it's not quite in the right place.
Yeah, it jars my ear too much.
Yeah, you kind of...
It stops the flow of that connection.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of like when you have to learn something and you put a physical act with it. And it's easier to remember because you've created two reference points.
Right, yes.
That for me is like the two reference points being the music of the melody. And the melody is basically the main tune. And then the lyrics, which are the words. And I'm not meaning to patronise anyone. But for some people, even the basic terms are outside of their reference.
Which I think was a good point you raised last week, is that we might have an understanding of stuff that other people simply don't, and we might have to stop and explain it. As you said, not being patronising, but just to go, okay, just in case you don't know what.
Absolutely. And also, I might have an understanding that's completely wrong, because I'm quite the dum-dum. So if I say something and people think that's not correct, please feel free to like and subscribe, and then put the comment in and say, Paul is clearly a moron and doesn't understand this basic concept, and then correct me. I'd be happy for that.
I'm not sure you understand how comments work on most YouTube videos. I don't think it would be quite that politely.
No.
But yes, we do certainly want... I'm more than happy to be corrected, because I know sometimes I think I've heard something and I'm applying it to the wrong song. So I will sit here and go, and of course it's like when Burt Bacharach wrote, insert song here. And I'll get it completely wrong. So I like when people go, that's not the song you're talking about, don't you? So I'm quite used to that.
I've done that several times. But Bacharach, another partnership, songwriting partnership with Hal David, very successful. So I'm putting these songwriting partnerships up there just to smooth the way for Powles and Amer.
We're talking about the top ones, the absolute top-notch people.
I mean, that's the company we keep.
But that's good because, and I'm not going to remember the one, there's a Burt Bacharach song that starts with the word "and," isn't there? And I never thought I'd feel this way.
And I love you so.
But they said, I think I remember seeing someone say, it's wonderful because the whole song starts with the word "and," so you're being drawn into the middle.
Yeah.
And then they went, actually, we couldn't get the lyrics to fit the tune we had.
So they did what
we
just
had
said.
to just drop a word in.
An extra...
And that's what they went, because they started with "now."
That's the perfect example of what we were just talking about. Thank you, Greg.
Because she went, And off they went. And they said, that's why that happened. But again, that's an example of where people read something into it that wasn't there in the first place. So but what we're trying to get round to is, what should the starting point be, aren't we?
Yeah, and first impressions really count, and not just in appearance, but in the way we perceive anything. So hearing and oral is no different in that respect. Yeah. So what is the first point of reference, I guess, for somebody's song? A lot of people will just hear something. I mean, I used to listen to the radio when I was young, and not always would hear the DJ say, and this next track is such and such by so-and-so. Yeah. I wasn't always lucky enough to get that luxury. Sometimes you'd come right into the middle of a song and think, that's great, what is that? And then you'd never know, because the DJ sometimes didn't follow it up. But I guess nowadays...
Well, a lot of radio stations now, you can just go on the website and it gives you the playlist.
Yeah.
So you
or on my car, sometimes it tells me.
It'll tell you, So your car's more modern than mine. So I don't have that luxury,
I'm Knight Rider. But the other thing, I guess, even on things like TikTok, which I have so very little understanding
out of my
of.
comfort zone now.
But quite often in those little videos, or reels or vines, as they used to be called, they will tell you the little information of the song as well.
Okay.
So it'll tell you the title and the group or the artist.
Handy. Yeah, so there's always a way of finding. Well, of course, and the other thing is that there's apps where you can just sing it in your phone, can't you? Oh, if you remember one little snippet of lyric now, you can just say, what is the song that starts, and I never thought I'd feel this way. Right. And it will tell you and it will take you there, which is great. But
it's good, yeah, really good.
Yeah. But so, I mean, I think it's what is our starting point going to be, isn't it? Are we going to come up with a song? Are we going to, a title? Are we going to think of a lyric that one of us has already thought of that we can build from there? Are we going to decide mood? Is it going to be a happy song? Is it going to be a slow song? Is it going to be a heartbreak number? Or are we just going to start noodling around with... I mean, because there's another thing is how people come up with stuff, because we've had the discussion before about the Beatles documentary Get Back, haven't we? Because we're both huge Beatles fans.
Yeah.
I've watched it. You haven't.
No, I haven't. I don't think I can, but carry on.
But part of that reason was, not putting words in your mouth, that you said you don't want to know how they put stuff together.
I don't think I do. I don't want the curtain to come down.
Yeah.
You know.
Whereas for me, it was amazing to see, and Get Back is the good example, that song, because it is literally just Paul warming up and accidentally finding a couple of things, and then they just sit there and play with it and play with it and play with it. And we go back to the divine inspiration thing, where you hear those songs and you think they got everything absolutely right.
Yeah.
And they did, and they it's that crazy thing of you had these group of people who individually were incredibly talented, and you put them together, and the mix was just somehow magic.
Yeah.
But they worked really, really hard on stuff as well. I mean, there's a bit on there where they are literally the lyrics to Get Back with the different names in. They're sitting there and they're just going over different names to see what is going to fit. The bit that
like a synergy, or in engineering, like when cogs fit, they call that mesh.
Okay,
and I guess it's that's what we're looking for. Because we don't know. Greg and I have never written together. Greg's a really good friend of mine, and we meet up fairly regularly for different projects. Yeah, different projects. But we've never written a song together, collaborated like this at all. So we don't know if we'll find that mesh.
This is the problem, isn't it? We
could fail spectacularly with your help.
Yeah, but maybe out of that we'll then find something. I mean, that could be a good thing as well. It's if I write in a certain way that's comfortable for me, and it's the same for you, but they don't match. We might then go, okay, well, we have to try something different that will take us both to a completely different place.
Yeah.
And something might come out of that.
Yeah, like a meet in the middle kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or it might be that I can adapt to your style, which would be great for me because it would be a challenge. We may have the same style. We don't know.
Something might just...
We don't know.
Fall into place.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
I'm thinking of... Because the Beatles, another quite successful songwriting partnership, Lennon and McCartney, they had a very similar style in the early days. They were both coming from that kind of Little Richard, rock and roll movement. They had different influences. Like Lennon was very influenced by skiffle and that kind of import style. Paul had a father that played some classical piano and I think something like the trumpet. I think Mr. McCartney.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So they had different influences, but it forged them into a certain style. I think.
Yeah.
So they already had that kind of synergy, but other bands like, do you know Gomez?
Yes.
You know, they have two lead singers, and they're very different. Very different. It's similarly for, I guess, Tears for Fears, another partnership. Yeah. Very different styles, but that work. They kind of both meet in the middle somehow, and maybe that's how we'll end up. I'm going to go off on a tangent, but there's a point to this.
All right, carry on. The floor is yours.
So we talked about Bacharach and David, and people, whether they write with a theme and a title in mind. And sometimes it is very engineered. The songwriting process is contrived.
Right.
If you think about Tin Pan Alley, Carole King, and
Neil Sedaka.
Those guys, they were forming a product.
Yeah.
And it had to fit into a 2.5 minute window because of the technology of the time. It couldn't really go further than that. So they had parameters, and they had to fit everything in, shoehorn it into that space. Yeah. And that's really how the modern pop song has evolved into what it is now.
Tin Pan, they effectively, they were like locked in a room doing a full
world building.
It was like a 7 or 8 hour day.
Neil Diamond's another one.
Sat there and just go for it, just churn stuff out.
So it's formulaic. I mean, they sound great if you listen to things like Breaking Up Is Hard to Do. Yeah. It's a perfect pop song.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Neil Sedaka passed recently. But he was actually probably the king, one of the kings of pop, and even rock and roll. Really underrated, I think.
And again, you think that song came out of that, but how much time did they spend just noodling away with other stuff that never went anywhere? You know, we don't know, do we? You know, did he just sit there one day and go, "Oh, I've got this idea," and by the end of the day, that song existed? Or was it? We just don't know, do we? And it's going to be different for different. And I'm sure there will be people, like I said, Elton John, that took 20 minutes. There's probably something else that took weeks. And just going, oh, that chord's not quite right.
And then ended up just in the middle of an album, not even released as a single.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to talk about is, in more recent times, songs are crafted for the same reason, but for a different format. So gone are the days of long introductions, because now it has to fit into a different style that would be more appealing to like social media use.
Yeah, this is
long introductions. I'm trying to think of perhaps like Fleetwood Mac, The Chain.
The Who.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. So whereas the art was used in lots of different elements, so you'd had an introduction. Usually, quite often it would be like 8-bar introduction, and then you've got a verse. So a bar is a measurement of time in music, and that also tells you the amount of beats that form the pattern. And so the introduction might have been 8 bars long, and then you get a verse, and then you get a chorus, and then another verse, and then another chorus, and then what they call the middle 8, which is it's a kind of a mechanism in a song that takes you to a slightly different melody that usually fits within the same chord pattern, but not always. And they call it the middle 8 because, again, it's 8 bars long usually. Yeah. And then it would take you into a final verse and or chorus, maybe even a key change, which is when the melody is the same pattern, but it jumps up in musical notes, so it's a higher sound. Am I doing a terrible job of it?
No, honestly, it's great. That's why I'm sitting here quietly, because you explain it really, really well.
And then as well as the intro, you'd have the outro.
Yeah.
But nowadays, those intros, really, they're dispensed with quite quickly.
I remember talking to someone about that not that long ago, because everything was designed for people's attention spans.
Exactly,
so pop songs dropped below 3 minutes again for the first time in a long time. And it had to be straight in. You couldn't have, here's a nice introduction, now the lyrics start after 30 seconds. It was, no, you've got to get straight in it.
Or like Pink Floyd, you know.
This is 4 minutes in before anyone says anything.
Yeah.
But there was and so it had to be like the chorus had to come around really quickly to hook people in. And the chorus is a lot of songs from maybe 10 years ago. I don't know if it's changed now, but a lot of those songs went straight into the bit that they liked, the bit that they thought was going to sell. Then you'd have a verse, then the chorus again, then a bit, there was no instrumental bit in the middle. There's no middle eight, as you said. It was just, we're going to hit you with the bit that you like repeatedly, and then you can move on to something else. Because if you don't hook people in straight away, they're not sitting there listening to a vinyl record that they're going to let play in the background. They're just going to get the finger and go, swipe, you're gone. What's next?
And I don't view that as a bad thing or necessarily a good thing. It's just a thing. In the same way that Neil Sedaka was writing a perfect 2.5 minute,
which had to have a middle eight in because they were told it had to.
Yeah.
This is the thing.
That was the rules back then. Yeah.
So are we going to sit here with a notepad next week and write down verse, chorus, middle eight key change?
Maybe we will. I mean, that would be an interesting way. I tell you what, is there any chance we could have an example of what a new composition would sound like? We'd love to play you all different clips of the songs that we're referencing. We can't do that for licensing reason.
Yeah.
What we can do, because we own the rights to our own songs, we could demonstrate what a song that each of us have written sounds like. Would you be comfortable playing me a song? And just me, not for the many thousands of
just you in
audience.
This room.
Yeah. Okay, well, you'll probably find there's an edit at this point, and then the next thing you see will be Greg holding his beautiful new guitar. Since we were talking about titles and introductions, perhaps you could give us a title of this song?
Having not decided what I'm going to play yet, do you want a faster one or a slower one? I'll do a faster one.
I want the one that you want to present.
Oh, I don't know. I've just got this one in my head. So
okay, go for it.
But I suppose... Yeah, I don't know. I'll just play it and see what you think.
Sure. Do you mind if I push this a little bit?
No. I say you set it up, so it's going to be right like that. Do you want to
That'll be right.
Sound check. Okay. But this is a good example, actually, because this is a song where, when I wrote it, I don't think it sounds necessarily good and clear on the guitar. But in my head, I was thinking, oh, well, actually, yeah, because we could have a brass section here.
Absolutely.
And there would be harmonies at this point, so... She sits alone and then she wonders why she cries. She uses me when nothing else will fill the void inside. So she calls me on a Friday and she asks me round to dance. But I say no way, I cannot play, I just can't take the chance. If she believes in me, I know I'll be okay. But if it's a lie, then why should I stay? Open up your heart and you can fight the fear. Learn from me and follow me and freedom will appear. If you wanna live forever, you can live along with me. But if we won't be together, then why don't you set me free before it's love? Set me free before I fall in love. I try to open up her eyes and help her see, but there's comfort in the chaos and that's where she wants to be. And if we could come together, we could make it through the night. But she says no, so let me go, 'cause it don't feel right. If she still wants me, she can find me down the road. But you know that I will bear a heavy load. Open up your heart and you can fight the fear. Learn from me and follow me and freedom will appear. If you wanna live forever, you can live along with me. But if we won't be together, then why don't you set me free before it's love? Set me free before I fall in love. Set me free before I fall in love. In love, in love. Before I fall in love. In love, in love, before I fall in love. Set me free before I fall in love.
Greg, I love that. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
So many interesting things to talk about that.
Okay.
But what we'll do before we do is, while Greg sets his guitar down and
Safely.
we take another edit point, I'm going to mention the Seagull Theatre and say thank you very much to the Seagull Theatre for their support by means of this wonderful studio and the technologies within it, and also being all round good eggs.
Indeed,
and you'll see their website where you can book tickets for various wonderful shows on your screen now. So, yeah, Greg, thank you for that. Really loved it. Perhaps you could tell us what the title is.
Well, you see, this is interesting because we're talking. The title of that one is "Before I Fall in Love."
Okay,
but it's kind of got dots before it because it was one of those things that I just wrote it and didn't think about it, and then I couldn't decide what the title should be, and I tied myself in knots thinking about it, going, "But before I fall in love" comes right at the end. So it was called "Set Me Free" brackets "Before I Fall in Love." And then I just went, actually, just go with the second bit.
I do like the use of brackets in a title, although in today's modern era, it makes it much more difficult to find, I think, because people don't know which is bracketized.
Which, again, is something we need to think about.
The
title has to be obvious. Does it have to be the first line of the song?
I think it has to be obvious. Like I like an obscure title and an obscure lyric. However, if we are aiming to write your favourite song... that song needs to be accessible and easy to find, and all these different things.
And also, which I think was the point you were trying to make earlier before we did our thing of going off slightly on a tangent.
We do.
But the fact that actually a title can be what gets people to listen to a song in the first place. If you are just browsing or scrolling around.
A really good title.
Yeah, if you see something that comes up that just says ... before I fall in love, are you necessarily going to go, oh, that's the kind of song I want to listen to? And is it a reflection of what the song is about as well, is the other thing.
Yeah, it has to tell a story very quickly in a very finite way. And also, I think it helps with popularity of a song to be referenced several times in a song, as yours did. Like you said, it happens later in the song, but it happens frequently. So people, I assumed that the song would be called Before I Fall in Love.
Which is probably a good thing.
Because if you don't know the title, but you've heard it, you can find it a lot quicker typing in on Google or whatnot. Where would people access that? If they wanted to hear that again, which I do, how would I find that?
Wait till this edition is uploaded and then watch it on there, because I've not done a recording of that.
Really?
Yeah, no.
But, so other songs that you have written, where could I access? Is there a link we can put up just here now?
No, I mean, all I've done, I've put a few of them. Oh, the SoundCloud. I've got a very old account on SoundCloud that's got a few that I recorded. So I used to work in radio. And what I used to do is I recorded some of my songs in a radio studio.
With their nice equipment.
But it's very different because obviously that's set up for voice all the time. So what I used to do is I just set it up as best I could with my limited understanding of engineering and production. And I would just sit and do what I've just done, just sit there and play it. And it would be recorded. Obviously, it's in a very good studio, and it had a very good microphone. But it wasn't me singing directly into it the way you would in a recording studio.
Okay.
So I did a few of them just for my own benefit, so they're accessible. I think if you put my name into SoundCloud,
which is Greg Powles,
Powles, awkward spelling. It'll take you there.
That's a funny way to spell Greg.
And I had to say, Greg is with one G. Since a certain bakery turned up a few years ago, everyone thinks my name is spelt with two G's at the end, but it's not.
No, you're the original G. Yeah.
But yeah, no, all I've done is I've done some bad recordings where I've videoed myself because I just thought someone once told me, and he had worked with a band as well. He toured with a band. And I played him some of my songs and he went, what have you done with these? And I said, nothing. And he went, well, why haven't, they need to be recorded somewhere. So I just started filming them and putting them on my YouTube channel, which we can put a link to. But they're very rudimentary recordings of me literally sitting at home with the guitar doing what I've just done. But I just thought, I've written quite a few songs now and most people haven't heard them, or most of them have never been heard. So I thought, well, it'd be nice to have a record of them somewhere because I'm not as young as I used to be. And it would be nice for my offspring and people to be able to...
It's nice to be remembered. 15 minutes of fame, as Andy Warhol said. Yeah. I'm glad you played that song, not just because I really liked it. I hadn't heard it before at all. As you said, very few people have, if anyone. But it brought in another element, which I hadn't mentioned, the pre-chorus.
Right.
Would you identify that as...
I would, yeah, with that, yeah.
I forget the line, like, and if she
believes in me, I know I'll be okay.
Yeah, would you describe that as a pre-chorus?
I would, yes.
Yeah. So basically, again, it's just another songwriting mechanism tool. to get you from the verse and the associated chords or themes into the chorus and its associated chords and themes. It's like a bridge or a link from one part to the song to the next.
Yeah, so you're not jumping from one sort of chord structure to another. There's a nice little bit, and it just mixes up a little bit and makes it flow.
But I'm going to guess, I'm going to put myself out on a limb here. I'm going to guess at no point did you sit down and think, this song needs a pre-chorus.
I didn't, no. I think the only time it would have come out is when I... because I've got a lot of songs that I did when I was younger that I just thought I'll always remember those.
Yes.
And now I go, I have no idea what the chords were for that. So I did start a document where I put them all in. So in that I would have put maybe pre-chorus.
Yeah.
Just to remind myself that it's a slight change of...
Have you ever lost any data?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you remember Blackberries?
Yes, yeah.
I had so much stuff on a BlackBerry, lots of lyrics and ideas for songs, and then it catastrophically failed. I was so desperate to get this information back that I contacted forensic scientists. I genuinely did.
Yep.
And on their website they said, things that are lost in fire we can recover. Almost anything they could recover except this particular BlackBerry problem.
Oops.
And it was gone forever.
Good name for a band, by the way, the Forensic Scientists.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the Blackberries.
Oh, the Blackberries could be, yeah.
So
something else we're going to have to think about?
Yeah.
What are we going to call ourselves?
Absolutely,
There's a lot to get to.
There's a lot to get to, and I'm rambling, so we're taking a lot longer. Greg, you as a guitarist and a singer,
loosely,
I guess that influences how you write your songs. Are most of your compositions born out of you sitting with a guitar, or does it just influence how you write a song to know, right, I'll be playing this on guitar when I...
I see what you mean. Because it's the only instrument I play, I'm trying to think, because it just kind of happens. I just sit there with a guitar, and it's really strange because it's kind of happened. There isn't a set way for me to do it. I mean, I sit and play every day, really, and I often play my own stuff, other people's stuff, learn new stuff. And then every so often I'll just play something and go, oh, hang on, that sounds quite good. And then, the most recent song I wrote, which is a very upbeat one, it just kind of poured out of me one evening within about an hour.
Okay.
It sparked by a conversation I'd had with someone over lunch, and the idea, and all of a sudden, this song just appeared, and I haven't changed it at all yet. It probably needs changing, but it's just like, okay, I don't know where that came from in the last hour.
So maybe we'll hear that in episode 3.
Possibly, yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But sorry, carry on.
No, but other times, I mean, there's a couple of songs I've got where I've just suddenly sung a melody with lyrics, and I don't know where that comes from, and then I've managed to find chords that fit it. So I've done it that way around.
Yeah, that's probably how I would normally write.
But I've also got a couple of songs where I've sung melodies and then I can't find because I don't understand music theory and I don't know what I'm singing. So I will sing something, and then when I try and play along to it, I cannot find anything that fits it.
I think that's a really important point, actually, for anybody that might be watching this and thinking, how can they write something or how can I write something? You don't need to be like somebody that understands music theory. I don't particularly understand music theory. Greg also. No. Sometimes you just need that time, as you said, with imagination, that time to develop an idea and to mess around with something. And
I think Paul McCartney famously didn't read music, did he?
No. I mean, he does now.
I imagine, but when they started,
John Lennon certainly didn't.
Yeah,
absolutely. Neither did. I mean, some of the best songwriters do it because what they understand is musicality rather than music.
And which I think we spoke about last week is, does it come from the feel of something? Can you do it that way around? So again, if we sit down and go, if we look at this deeper and we go, okay, these are good chords, because you can find this online now, chord structures that are suggested for certain kind of songs.
Absolutely, yeah.
That was a little bit of research that I did do that.
Yeah, I also did that.
Yeah, people go, okay, if you want it to sound like an Irish folk song, use these chords.
Yeah, and use this time signature.
Exactly,
Probably like 3/4 which gives you that 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, da, 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 da. That automatically sets you in motion, which a lot of Irish folk music does. It has to move you physically. But please.
No, go on.
My point was, so you would write from a point of view of, I sing this, I play this, this is how those two go together. Whereas I'm not a musician. I don't play any instruments. I own some, but I certainly don't play them well. So when I write, I'm limited into how I can formulate something upwards.
Okay.
So if you don't mind, I'll play you an example of a song that I wrote for my a cappella group, which is called The Testosterone, available for all your needs. And with that in mind, there is no musical instrument in this.
Oh, right. Okay,
this
wonderful.
Is just made with voices.
Driving top down with my crew on the day I first saw you, had a look in your eye of danger and despair. My mind was full of sin. I thought my ship came in. A voice in my head said, stranger, you better beware. Ooh, you look so pretty, and I knew you're no good for me. Back in the day, we didn't know what laid in store. Girls never looked so good before. The radio played that bebop rock and roll. Back in the day, we didn't have as much as now. We never worried anyhow. Loving, laughing, come what may. Back in the day. Well, you made my life hard to bear, and I'm not the kind to swear. Damn, you look so good in that red dress. So good in that red dress. My heart was torn into two. My mind was black and blue. When you don't come home, baby, I'm a mess. Ooh, yeah, it's hard to love you, and I swear I don't know what to do. Back in the day, we didn't know what laid in store. Girls never looked so good before. The radio played that bebop rock and roll. Back in the day, we didn't have as much as now. We never worried anyhow. Loving, laughing, come what may. So tell me, why'd you have to make it so complicated? It's never black and white. Never black and white. The way you played it left me so frustrated. I've got to leave. He's got to leave. I've just got to leave. He's got to get away tonight. Ooh, back in the day, we didn't know what laid in store. Girls never looked so good before. The radio played that non-stop doo-wop, bebop, rock and roll. Back in the day, we didn't have as much as now. We never worried anyhow. Loving, laughing, come what may. Back in the day, back in the day, back in the day.
Wow.
So obviously the title for that is Back in the Day.
Yeah.
But you can see how, because I'm limited and constrained with not having something I can play chords on.
Yeah.
So I have to formulate a way to.
So you wrote all the parts in that? Did you come up with all that yourself?
Probably about like 80%.
Okay.
So I wrote the song. I was on the Isle of Wight on holiday. It was a lovely holiday actually with my family, and so the song wrote. I think I was probably having a cigarette break back. I don't smoke anymore. But I did back in the day, and so most of it came just across a cigarette break.
Yeah.
But then the difficult part was, well, how am I going to perform this? Because no one wants to. And back in the day, in the olden times, people would sing in a folk club.
Yeah.
And actually, they still do. There's a great folk club in Lowestoft in the Gunton area.
There's quite a few around. Yeah, there's some good stuff.
People still sing a cappella without any kind of instrumentation, just the voice. And that's lovely to hear. But quite often, audiences don't want that. So I needed to formulate a backing and I didn't have an instrument that I was proficient on to do that. All I know is my voice. So then I worked out what that backing might sound like, and then I sort of told the rest of the guys. There's 4 other guys in that recording, and then probably the other 20% is them adapting it to their own voices and saying, "Oh, it would be good if I did this here," and
which again is a good example of a songwriting process.
Yeah,
of where you come up with the original idea, you do as much as you can, and then other people add stuff onto it. But that, I mean, that already to me seems so much more complicated than what I just played.
But I would disagree because I can't do what you can do.
But I think there's so much vocal expression in that, and it goes in so many different directions in so many different ways.
Well, we'll agree to disagree.
But it's fine, but it's good. But
we can bring both of our.
But what I love about that as well is that it's written in the style of the music that you're recreating. To me, it's, I don't know as much about the doo-wop stuff and all that as you do.
Sure.
But you've written a song in the past few years, but done it in the style that it would have been done back then. To me, that's what I heard then. That was,
sure.
I mean, I've heard you do some of those original songs, and I know some of those you're just copying the way they were done, but also you've adapted them to suit you guys.
A little, yeah.
Yeah, but that was very much to me was I'm listening to, and the all the stuff about seeing you in that red dress. That's what they used to write about back then, wasn't
it? Yeah.
It was very much about, I saw you at the dance, you looked so pretty. And I really loved that.
Well, thank you.
I really enjoyed that.
We have talked, as we often do, for a long time, and we should perhaps put the aim of episode 3 to start writing.
Well, just
Can we set that?
Shall we do?
Challenge?
Yeah, so should we plan that a little now, or because we're not going to talk about it during the week because we've decided that's not what we're going to do.
We don't do that. Only what we work out together here. Will form that song. I think.
Should we just wait and see? Well, I'll bring like a notepad.
Yeah.
We'll both have our phones to record on. I'll have a guitar with me,
the next episode will be heavily edited. There'll be a lot of swearing at each other.
There might be. We'll see. We'll just try it. Because I thought the original plan, what we spoke about last week, was there might be several weeks where we would discuss the songwriting process and how we're going to tackle it. But maybe we just dive in next week. Maybe you're right. Let's just see what happens.
It won't be that next week you get the whole song, but maybe if we work out like the chords or a certain lyric, like you said, a couplet, where 2 lines kind of rhyme with each other. If we can get some kind of inspiration,
or even a title.
A title.
Maybe we start from a title.
As we said, this is episode 2 of We Will Write Your Favourite Song. Maybe episode 3 we will start actually writing.
We'll get into it. I think so. Yeah.
But thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you next time.